Hey guys, what's up? This is Brett. Welcome to this week's episode of Friday on the Turntable. I'm here with another review of a new release this week from Placebo with their brand new album, Loud Like Love. But before we take a look at my review, I'd like to look at some thing here in the vinyl. Those of you that collect vinyl, buy physical music, I find this to be a item of real contention here. I just want to show you a little comparison here between this Placebo album and the album that I reviewed last week, the new 9 Inch Nails, and what you get for what you pay. And I think this is a really interesting little thing, so please stick with me on this one. So last week I showed the new 9 Inch Nails, hesitation marks, gave it a really stellar review. Let's look at the packaging again for this one. So we have a gatefold. It's a 2-record set in nice sleeves, 180 gram pressing. There's an insert. In addition to that, it comes with a CD copy of the album. The price of this one, if you get it on wherever digital or in your store, you're going to pay around $30 for it, okay? So this new Placebo album that came out, let's take a look at the packaging for this one. So here we go, US pressing as well, just like the 9 Inch Nails one. Picture sleeve here. It's on blue vinyl, single record, no download card, no CD, anything. What this was at the store was $32. Now you tell me, is that a fair price for one record? It is ridiculous. I'll tell you, the music industry and people complain about people not spending the money to buy physical product or whatever, not buying stuff. Well, I'll tell you, exploiting the people that are actually buying the physical product, I find just incredibly infuriating and just offensive. And yeah, so $32. If you go to Placebo's actually website, there is a 2 LP version of it with a gatefold, with a sheet and everything. That's $25 to the US market as well. So that was the version when I ordered it through my local store. That's what I was expecting to get. So I could have actually ordered it from them for $25 plus shipping and got more than paying for the single record for over $30. So I sent an email to the label Universal and haven't gotten a reply because I'm just curious why it's priced so high and why we don't even get a simple thing such as a download card. I've bought records that are on color vinyl single LP before for 15 bucks, so why should that warrant double the price? Anyways, just something I wanted to go over with you guys. Let me hear your opinions on that, but yeah. Okay, so Loud Like Love, the new Placebo record. It is actually their 7th album and their first one since 2009's Battle for the Sun. Yeah, 4-year gap in between the two. Earlier this year, or I should say late in 2012, the band released a digital EP called B3, and then for Record Store Day in 2013, there was a limited edition 10-inch that came out, clear vinyl, and none of the songs on this were actually duplicated on the album, which was cool. So it's 5 songs of actual all-new recordings, and the album is a 10-song release, so it's in comparison to Battle for the Sun, which I think had 13, which felt about 3 songs too long. I think Loud Like Love is pretty lean, and in that matter, I appreciate that. Any extra material, I like when bands put them as B-sides rather than just filling the album out with filler, essentially. So my first exposure, I've been a long-term fan of Placebo. I've seen them live several times. I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. But I first was exposed to this band back in, I think it was in the late 90s. My friend, Jitan Damon, who used to be in the band Christian Death and has an amazing solo career. My band and her were doing a joint show here in Phoenix, and afterwards we went out to eat, and we were sitting around and talking about music, and she told me, you really need to check out this band called Placebo. British band, although the members were kind of from various areas. But she said you need to go out and buy Without You I'm Nothing, which was their 2nd album, which was the newest one out at the time. The very next day, I went out and picked it up and just immediately fell in love with it, and ever since then I've been a fan. So with this new album, And Placebo kind of came out around the tail end of the Britpop movement. Around 96 is when their first album came out. So Britpop was kind of going away, or at the very tail end there. And Placebo had a unique sound. The vocals of the singer Brian Molko are they're higher in pitch, so there's a semblance to, you know, maybe Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction. The music has some elements of maybe a little bit of Britpop, but also of 70s glam rock, things like T-Rex, Roxy Music, David Bowie, plus the more modern things like Jane's Addiction and you know, something Pixies. I think would be another good element to throw in there. But Placebo kind of sounds pretty unique. So Loud Like Love, I've read a couple, before filming today, I read a couple reviews. I was just curious what the general opinion of this one is. And I've read some, what I consider were pretty negative reviews, and I completely disagree with that, because I wasn't a huge fan of their last one, Battle for the Sun. Like I said, I thought it was a little too long, I thought it was a little too meandering, and I think they're kind of back. The second that I dropped the needle on this one, the track Loud Like Love, which is one of the singles as well as Too Many Friends, I heard those in advance, so I knew what to expect. But Loud Like Love as an album opener is just an anthem, and I think that's going to be one of, 20 years from now when Placebo are touring, it'll be one of the songs that from this album that they'll still be doing in their live set. It's kind of a real big anthem and great track. Placebo is a three-piece. In recent years, their drummer, they've had a couple drummers over the years, but Stephen Hewitt was one of the long-term drummers. He left the band before Battle for the Sun. So this is his second album with the new drummer. And yeah, so let's just talk about the highlights. Loud Like Love, obviously, Too Many Friends, great track. Lyrics to that one are kind of like, I guess, a summation of life in the digital age, of, maybe a false sense of security that, your online life is your happiness and your closeness, and it's kind of a really look at that, staring into your phone and just kind of your detachment from reality. And I think it's really well said. I'm not doing it justice with the way I'm describing it, but it's a really, really cool song. The album closer, Bosco, is kind of a... Placebo often end their albums with a piano ballad, or, I don't like to use the term ballad, but usually it's a more sprawling song, a bit longer. And Bosco is no exception, and it's probably one of the strongest moments of the album. And the whole album has this kind of sense of, it is someone trying to regain their footing after a long-term loss of, of a relationship, and kind of the devastation and the fallout that was left behind. And a lot of the songs kind of touch on that theme. And in particular, Bosco has these lyrics: when I get drunk, you take me home and keep me safe from harm. And it's just kind of interesting because it's from the narrative of a person who's talking about this other person and how they took care of them, but yet they're kind of exploiting them and taking advantage of their kindness. But really, at the end of it, are they actually a better person by saying this? Or is it just, yeah, I'm admitting this, and I'm not a better person from it, because have I actually learned, have I actually grown from this, or am I going to continue to keep doing that? If that makes sense. And he also says in there in the bridge sections, I'm grateful, I appreciate it, but in fact it's baleful how I suck you dry. And baleful, if you look at that, it's kind of menacing, like it's harmful. It's harmful. He knows it's harmful what he does to this person, yet he continues to do it. So it's kind of an interesting, just look at relationships and their complexity. Yeah, A Million Little Pieces, another great track. There's a refrain in there: all my dreaming torn in pieces. Really excellent. And then Exit Wounds, another highlight of the album. It's just, a classic theme. Ex-lover's now with someone else, and the chorus on it just gives me chills, just the way the harmonic structure of it moves behind the vocal melody, and it's one of those moments that the music just gives you chills just by what it does with the layering of the vocals on top, and it's just a great moment. The lowlights of the album, I think the second track, Scene of the Crime, is definitely not one that stood out for me. I've listened to this probably 5 times already. I don't like to review anything unless I've had a minimum of 5 times with it. Scene of the Crime is one of the weak spots for me, and also Purify. But Hold On To Me is pretty decent. Rob the Bank, I wasn't into it on the first listen, but as the, maybe from a lyrical perspective, but it's kind of growing on me, and I think it has a really good intensity. If you buy it on iTunes, you get an extra bonus track. It's called Pity Party. I can see why it was left off the album. It's definitely something that should be, put as a B-side or as a bonus track. And then there's a physical 7-inch single for Too Many Friends, which has another bonus track. I think it's called Outro, and that may be an instrumental. And then there's a single for the title track, Loud Like Love, which doesn't have a physical release yet. So I definitely recommend this one. Is it a starting point if you're new to Placebo? I would say no. I pulled out my CD collection of Placebo because I just wanted to briefly go through it. If I'm gonna recommend you guys a starting point for Placebo, it was my starting point. Without You I'm Nothing. Opening track, Pure Morning, is just so great lyrically. Without You I'm Nothing, the title track, which they actually recorded a version with David Bowie as a duet. Excellent, really great. A dark album, Burger Queen, My Sweet Prince. It's just an intense album. Their debut was from '96. I mean, it has some killer stuff on there. 36 Degrees, Lady the Flowers, Teenage Angst, great. Black Market Music, this is another excellent one. Sleeping with Ghosts, their first 4 ones are just really stellar. This has you can get a second edition which has a ton of covers on it, including Kate Bush's Running Up the Hill. It's got a Smith's cover, it's got a Pixies cover, Big Star cover. Meds was the next album. This is where it started. It was strong, but there's still some tracks on here that I wasn't digging. And then, of course, Battle for the Sun, which we've already discussed. But so if you're going to start out, I highly recommend you seeking out, wrong one. Without You I'm Nothing or Black Market Music would both be great entries, or even Sleeping with Ghosts. So Placebo, I've seen them live. I pulled out my ticket stubs for this. According to my ticket stubs, I've seen them 4 times, but I feel like there was one extra one. So first time I got to see them was in 2001, May 15th at the Hollywood Palace, which is no longer. And what a show that was. The band Idlewild opened up for them. And the Palace was a great venue. Placebo were on tour for Black Market Music. They all came out wearing all white, I remember. And there was a moment where for some reason I turned and looked up at the balcony, the little booths that were up there, like a VIP booth, and there was a flash of light from the stage that hit that spot. And I caught a glimpse of Morrissey up there in the booth, and then the light stayed on and he kind of backed away out of the light, so apparently he wouldn't be recognized. So I got to see Morrissey there in the balcony. 2003 they played at the Marquee Theater. Actually, these next 3 shows are all at the same place. I don't remember who opened up. I think Eagles of Death Metal was an opening act at one point. Another great show, that would have been for the Sleeping with Ghosts tour, December 2nd. Then I also saw them again in 2006. This was October 17th. Looks like that I got in that one for free. 2006, I'm guessing that was for Meds, and then they came back again April 27th, 2007, so I saw them again. They're always, each show got more. The show in LA was at the Palace was packed, may have been sold out, but the shows at the Marquee starting in the 2003 one was pretty sparsely populated. But then by the time 2007 hit, the band, their popularity really grew because the venues filled up. So anyways, that's my thoughts on that, guys. I recommend it for those of you guys that are into Placebo already. I like it. I like it a lot, and I think it's only going to continue to grow on me. And for those of you guys new, you already heard my recommendation, so I think we'll leave it at that. So I'll have a link down in the description box if you want to check out my blog. There's a link to buy it online. Other than that, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.